The library stood silent, its towering shelves casting long shadows across the worn wooden floor. Jae-wook Kim adjusted his glasses, running his fingers along the spines of ancient history books. Another late night at Seoul National University. Library, another moment of peaceful solitude. The clock struck 11:47 p.m. Fluorescent lights flickered overhead, creating a gentle hum that blended with the soft rustle of old paper. Jae-wook loved these quiet moments, just him, thousands of books and the smell of aged knowledge surrounding him. Something caught his eye between the mythology and ancient civilization sections. A slight movement, a shimmer that didn't belong. At first he thought it was a trick of the light, a shadow playing games with his tired mind. But then he saw her. A woman, lying impossibly still between two massive bookshelves. Her clothing was unlike anything Jae-wook had ever seen. Not quite fabric, not quite metal, something in between that seemed to breathe and shift with an unnatural quality. Her skin had a peculiar iridescent sheen, almost like mother-of-pearl catching moonlight. He approached cautiously. No signs of injury, no blood, no obvious trauma. Just a perfectly still figure who seemed to have materialized out of thin air. Jae-wook's hand trembled as he reached out. Her skin was warm but not human warm. There was an electrical charge, a subtle vibration that made the hair on his arms stand up. She looked human, mostly. Her facial features were delicate, almost too perfect. Her hair, a strange silver blue, spread around her head like a living silk map. The library's security cameras showed nothing. No entry, no movement, just her, suddenly existing where moments before there had been only books and empty space. Hee-Wayne checked her pulse. Strange. Her heartbeat wasn't rhythmic like a human's. It pulsed in complex patterns like a sophisticated musical composition played through biological instruments. Her breathing was equally unusual. Shallow, controlled, almost mechanical. Around her neck, a thin metallic device glimmered. Not a necklace. Something more complex. It looked like a communication device, but far more advanced than any technology Jae-wook had ever seen. Who was she? How did she get here? More importantly, how did she appear in a locked library between shelves that hadn't been moved in decades? Jae-wook's training as a librarian kicked in. Systematic, careful, observant. He documented everything, took photographs with his phone, noted every detail about her strange appearance. Her clothes seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. When he moved a book nearby, the fabric around her shoulder seemed to subtly change color, matching the book's brown, leather binding. Camouflage? Adaptive material? The library felt different. The air seemed charged like moments before a thunderstorm. Books near her appeared to vibrate imperceptibly, as if resonating with her unknown energy. Jae-wook knew he had two choices: call the authorities or wait. Something deep in his gut told him calling the police would be a mistake. This was no ordinary situation. He pulled up a chair, keeping a careful distance, watching, waiting. His mind raced with 1,000 questions, each more impossible than the last. Who was this woman? Where did she come from? And why, of all places, had she appeared in his library? As dawn's first light began to peek through the library's tall windows, her fingers twitched, just slightly, almost imperceptibly. But Jae-wook saw it. Something was about to change. Dramatically, the mysterious woman was waking up. Would you like me to continue with the next part of the story? Her eyes opened, not like human eyes. They were deeper, with layers of color that shifted like liquid metal. Jae-wook froze, his breath caught in his throat. She moved with impossible grace, sitting up without using her hands. No dizziness. No disorientation. Complete control. Her gaze locked directly onto Jae-wook, scanning him with an intensity that felt like a physical touch. "You are not afraid," she said. But her lips didn't move. The words formed directly in Jae-wook's mind, crystal clear and perfectly pronounced. Jae-wook swallowed hard. "Should I be?" A sound emerged, something between a laugh and a mechanical hum. Most humans would be terrified. You seem curious. Her neck device pulsed with soft blue light. A translation mechanism, Jae-wook realized, but far more advanced than any technology he'd ever encountered. "My name is Hyejin," she stated, then paused. "That is not my actual name, but it is closest to what your language can understand." The library around them seemed to grow quieter. Books on nearby shelves appeared to lean slightly toward her, as if listening. "I am not from your world," Hyejin continued. Her fingers traced the edge of a nearby book, and for a moment the book's pages flickered with strange symbols before returning to normal text. Jae-wook noticed her movements were calculated, precise. Each gesture carried meaning. She wasn't just sitting, she was studying him, the room, everything around her with scientific detachment. "How did you get here?" Jae-wook asked, surprising himself with how calm he sounded. Hyejin's eyes flickered, literally flickered, like a digital screen changing images. "A research mission, an error in dimensional navigation, unexpected quantum displacement." She spoke about interdimensional travel as casually as someone might discuss taking a wrong bus route. Jae-wook realized she was wearing what looked like a uniform. Not clothing, but something more technological. Adaptive material that seemed to breathe and change based on surrounding temperature and light. "You're a researcher?" he asked. "Anthropological studies. Your species is fascinating." Her tone suggested humans were an interesting experiment. Not quite condescending, but definitely not equal. The library's electrical systems began to behave strangely. Lights pulsed softly. A computer screen nearby flickered with incomprehensible data streams. "I've been observing human cultural archives," Hyejin explained. "Your library systems are primitive but intriguing, particularly your method of preserving knowledge through physical media." Jae-wook felt both proud and slightly embarrassed. Here was an alien being examining humanity's knowledge storage like a scientist studying an interesting but limited species. Her hand moved across a book's spine. Instantly, the book's entire content seemed to download into her neural network. No scanning, no physical interaction, just a touch and knowledge transferred. "You cannot do that," Jae-wook whispered. Hyejin tilted her head. "Cannot? Or have not yet learned?" The challenge in her voice was clear. Humans were potential, not a finished product. Outside, the first morning light began to break. City sounds started, distant traffic, early morning workers, the world waking up. But inside the library, time felt suspended. "I need to understand how I was displaced," Hyejin said. "And you will help me." It wasn't a request. It was a statement. Jae-wook knew in that moment his ordinary life had just become extraordinary. An alien researcher, a library, an impossible encounter. And this was only the beginning. Would you like me to continue with the next part of the story? The first government car arrived 45 minutes after Hyejin's awakening. Jae-wook recognized the signs immediately. Black. Sedan. Tinted windows. Government license plates. Hyejin didn't move. Didn't panic. Her body remained perfectly still, but her eyes tracked the vehicle's approach with mechanical precision. "They are coming for me," she said simply. No emotion. Just a statement of fact. Jae-wook watched as two men in dark suits approached the library's main entrance. Their movements were synchronized, practiced. Military precision. "We need to hide." "You," Jae-wook whispered. A slight smile crossed Hyejin's face. Not a human smile. Something more calculated. "Hide? I do not require hiding. I require strategic relocation." The library's back emergency exit became their escape route. Hyejin moved with impossible speed, her body adapting to each movement, like liquid metal. Books seemed to shift around her, creating momentary obstacles for anyone trying to follow. Government communication devices began to malfunction. Radio signals scrambled. GPS tracking went offline. Something about Hyejin disrupted electronic systems simply by existing. 2 blocks away, they ducked into a small cafe. Jae-wook's hands shook as he ordered 2 coffees, more out of habit than actual need. They will not stop searching, Hyejin explained. Her fingers touched the cafe's electrical outlet, and suddenly the nearby security camera pointed away from their table. Jae-wook realized she wasn't just avoiding capture. She was actively manipulating their environment. A message came through, on his phone. Unknown number. Encrypted text. Unusual dimensional anomaly detected. Tracking in progress. Hyejin read the message without touching the phone. Your communication networks are remarkably predictable, she muttered. Government agents weren't the only ones searching. Something else watched, something more complex. Jae-wook could feel it, a presence beyond human perception. Who else is looking for you? He asked. Her response was cryptic. Not all observers are hostile, some are evaluators. The cafe seemed to grow quieter. Other customers moved slightly slower. Time itself felt different around Hyejin. A black SUV passed. Outside, surveillance, professional, systematic. We need a plan, Jae-wook said. Hyejin's hand touched an old book in his messenger bag, a rare text on quantum physics. Instantly, the book's pages rearranged, creating a complex map of potential escape routes. Your species has potential, she said, but you are still learning. Underground research networks began to activate, small signals, encrypted messages. Someone knew something was happening. Jae-wook realized he was now part of something far bigger than a simple library encounter. A cosmic game was being played, and he was an unexpected player. Another car passed. Another sweep of the area. They will not stop, Hyejin repeated. Her fingers created a small holographic projection only Jae-wook could see. A complex network of potential outcomes. One path showed capture, another showed escape. A third showed something entirely unexpected. Choose, she said. But the choice was already made. Jae-wook was all in. The hunt had begun. Would you like me to continue with the next part of the story? The underground research facility looked ordinary from the outside, just another concrete building in Seoul's industrial district. But inside, everything changed. Jae-wook's university colleague, Dr. Park Min-seo, specialized in quantum anomalies. She was the only person he trusted with their impossible secret. An actual interdimensional being, Min-seo whispered, her hands trembling as she scanned Hyejin. Impossible, yet here you are. Hyejin stood perfectly still, allowing the scanning. Equipment to map her biological structure. Complex energy patterns danced across computer screens, data beyond human comprehension. Your technology is rudimentary, she observed. But interesting. Underground networks activated, encrypted messages spread. Something extraordinary was happening and certain groups were paying attention. Min-seo's computer displayed impossible readings. Hyejin's cellular structure defied everything they understood about biology. She wasn't just an alien. She was a living quantum algorithm. I need to demonstrate humanity's potential, Hyejin explained. My evaluation committee requires proof. Jae-wook understood now. This wasn't just about her. This was a test. Humanity itself was being judged. Government tracking teams grew closer. Electronic surveillance increased. But Hyejin seemed unconcerned, manipulating surrounding technology with subtle hand movements. We will use your library's historical archives, she told Jae-wook. Human knowledge will be our weapon. Their strategy emerged slowly. They would compile a comprehensive presentation, not of human military might or technological advancement, but of human creativity, adaptation, and potential. Ancient books became their tools. Historical documents transformed into living evidence of human complexity, a manuscript about Leonardo da Vinci, mathematical discoveries from unknown cultures, artistic innovations that challenged existing paradigms. Each document became a piece of a larger argument. Humans adapt, Hyejin said. You transform challenges into opportunities. Min-seo's underground research network provided additional support. Specialists from various fields began contributing, anonymously, carefully understanding something significant was happening. Tracking devices continued searching. Government teams moved closer, but Hee-jin remained calm, her adaptive technology creating constant misdirection. "They will not understand our true purpose," she explained to Jae-wook. "This is about potential, about possibility." The library became their primary base. Books were more than paper and ink now. They were living testimonies of human imagination. Jae-wook realized they were building more than a presentation. They were constructing humanity's first genuine interdimensional, diplomatic argument. Outside, Seoul continued its routine. Traffic moved, people worked. Nobody knew how close they were to a moment that could change everything. Hee-jin's evaluation device, the metallic collar, began processing their collected information. Complex algorithms translated human achievements into a language her alien committee would understand. "We have approximately 72 hours, she said, before final assessment. Min Seo's computers tracked incoming signals. Something was coming, something beyond human understanding. "Are we ready?" Jae-wook asked. Hee-jin's eyes flickered, part human, part something entirely different. "We are prepared." The hunt continued. The presentation was almost complete. Humanity's first true test was about to begin, and nobody outside their small group would ever know how close they came to a cosmic judgment. "Would you like me to continue with the final part of the story?" The sky above Seoul changed. Not visibly, to most people, but to those paying attention, something shifted. Holographic images appeared inside the research facility, strange geometric shapes that looked like living mathematics. Alien symbols danced across computer screens. The evaluation committee was arriving. Jae-wook stood beside Hee-jin, his hands slightly shaking. Months of preparation came down to these moments. Their presentation wasn't about technology. It was about human spirit. They showed stories of survival, of innovation, of people overcoming impossible challenges. Not just scientific achievements, but human resilience. A video of a child surviving in war-torn regions, a scientist developing medicine in remote villages, an artist creating beauty from destruction. Small moments that revealed humanity's core strength. Alien observers watched. Their perception moved beyond visual information. They were reading emotional frequencies, measuring potential through unseen dimensions. Hee-jin's evaluation device translated human experiences into complex quantum data. Each story became a mathematical equation of possibility. The room temperature dropped. Electrical systems flickered. Reality itself seemed to bend around the alien presence. "Explain," a voice demanded. Not spoken, transmitted directly into their minds. Jae-wook stepped forward. "We are not perfect, but we adapt. We grow. We transform." Holographic figures examined their presentation. Some appeared impressed. Others remained neutral. Humanity's fate balanced on a razor's edge. Min Seo's additional research provided critical backup, detailed studies of human psychological adaptability, quantum potential hidden within ordinary experiences. The alien committee discussed, not in words but in complex energy patterns that shifted like living mathematics. Hours passed in moments. Moments stretched into centuries. Suddenly, everything stopped. "Potential recognized," the voice announced. Hee-jin turned to Jae-wook. A rare smile crossed her face. Not a human smile. Something more complex. "You have passed," she said. The facility's equipment returned to normal. Outside, Seoul continued its daily rhythm. Nobody would ever know how close they came to a cosmic judgment. Hee-jin's mission was complete. Humanity had been evaluated and found worthy. "What happens now?" Jae-wook asked. Her response was cryptic. "We watch, we wait, we observe." The library where they first met seemed to pulse with a strange energy. Books shifted slightly. Knowledge itself felt different. Government tracking teams would find nothing. No evidence, no trace, just a librarian. A few unusual research documents, and a sense that something extraordinary had happened. Jae-wook understood now. This was bigger than one encounter. This was about humanity's future. The cosmic door had been opened, just slightly, just enough. As Hyejin prepared to depart, she left one final message, not in words, but in a feeling, a sense of potential, of possibility. Humanity was not alone, and their journey was just beginning. The sky above Seoul returned to normal, but something had changed. Forever. Would you like me to elaborate on any part of the story?